St. Thomas Aquinas in his Summa wrote, "It is necessary to attribute providence to God, and therefore it's necessary that I begin by attributing the role that providence has played in my life to God." I certainly don't believe it a coincidence that one of the first times I felt the feeling of God's providence for my life was here on this campus 21 years ago on Accepted Students Day, when I needed to take a leap of faith as well. My mom and I had been driving around New England visiting schools, and at every other school I just felt nervous and sad. Not because I didn't want to go to college, but because, like every teenager, and really every adult, if we're being honest, I had gone through some challenges that made me feel different and alone. And it made me question if I'd be able to connect and be accepted by others. I was born with a congenital heart disease called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, which makes it harder for the heart to pump blood. Of course, all the nursing students know that, but perhaps the rest of you don't. So at age 10, I could no longer play competitive sports. At 15, I spent much of the fall of my sophomore year in high school in Boston Children's Hospital due to complications of a pacemaker implant surgery that led to side effects of medications that they were giving me to treat the infection, causing me to be paralyzed from the neck down and in extreme pain, and have many nights of not knowing if I would wake up. And so when it came time to go to college, 2 years after that experience, I was trying to find my way like my peers, but with this added weight of that experience and the continued worry, the lifelong worry of my heart disease. And I'm sitting in St. Dominic's Chapel at Accepted Students Day, and Manny Vasconcelos, now Father Manny, he became a priest, but he was just a sophomore in college at that time. And he's cantering at a podium like this, singing to everybody in St. Dominic's on Accepted Students Day, and the chapel is just packed. And I'm sitting there feeling like I might not belong. And my mom, who of course knew that I loved to sing, she turns to me and she says, "You know, that could be you, you know." And I felt God say, "That will be." And so it's best to do what God says. And so I came here. And over the 4 years that followed, in addition to singing many masses in St. Dominic's like my mom and God said I would, this wonderful place and the wonderful people here, like all of you, revealed to me that it's not just a heart disease that can make someone feel different. Through a strong liberal arts education and the understanding of the various cultures since the dawn of Western civilization, I learned that everyone has their own reason to feel different. Race, religion, economic status, nationalities, languages, genders. All of these things, and so many more, have the potential to make someone feel different and be a reason not to belong. But they also have the potential to help us see that it is because we are all different that we all belong in our humanity, for each of us belongs to God. And this simple yet profound truth that we discover here, uniquely discover here in this place, is life-changing. Because if we all belong to God, then we all belong to each other. And if we all belong to God and each other, it is impossible to be alone. When I had a stroke a week after I graduated college, when I moved to New York after that stroke with long-term memory loss, unable to speak and remember much of my life, when my girlfriend died some years later, when I was placed on disability from Goldman Sachs in my 20s after developing tonic-clonic convulsions due to side effects of the stroke, I felt a lot of things during those times. But alone was never one of them. Because when I was there at my lowest, God showed me where to go again. The same way He told me to come to Providence College, He said very clearly to become a nurse. And I simply listened. And because of the foundation laid forth by Providence, I had the strength to get 5 additional degrees in 4 years in my late 20s. I had the courage to write books and poetry and speak around the country. Because of Providence, I had the ingenuity and the creativity to invent medical technology and launch businesses. I could find the provision and influence to be named one of the youngest chief nurse executives in the United States at 36. And most importantly, because of Providence, I was able to begin walking a path that led to a life of joy and purpose and meaning with my wife. And for the last 5 years, the greatest gift of raising our son, Thomas, who's right there in the front row. Hey, buddy. How can this be? What is the reason that a man just as, if not more sick and different than he was when he was crying, dropped off at the hill up there at Guzman Hall by his mom and dad, returns again today with them in the front row, not alone, not scared, but sought after, apparently, thank you for having me, and confident to speak at the opening of the School of Nursing and Health Sciences. There is only one answer: Providence. You see, this isn't just another new, beautiful building on the campus. This isn't even one of the most cutting-edge facilities with the best simulation and technology of any school in the world. It isn't just a place that will bring nursing and health sciences together with health policy and management to ensure that policy becomes action and action becomes policy. This isn't just a place that will bring a renewed sense of purpose and pride to all alumni and the broader community. This is the manifestation and the fulfillment of our mission: to pursue the truth, to grow in virtue, and to serve God and neighbor. This is Providence, and there is no better way for it to be demonstrated than this. When I think about the potential for students to gain both the skill and the wisdom that I had to learn in a non-linear way, in an intricately woven manner, through a program like the one that has been developed for nursing and health sciences, I have so much hope. Hope for our future, hope for healthcare, hope for humanity. Combining the existing outstanding curriculum and experience here that encourages true understanding of self and altruism, together with clinical training, will have a transformative impact on healthcare and the world. I think it is so fitting, as we open a school for nursing and the health sciences, that we have embraced a campaign for Providence that it is for those who seek. They're great commercials, aren't they? I really like them. For there are so many patients in this world, like me, who are desperately seeking to be healed, who will better find what they are looking for thanks to the work that begins here. Because here on this campus, so many people are also seeking, like me, to learn how to better heal all those in need of healing. And they will find what they seek as well because of what we are celebrating today. So Mom, turn to some of the students here today. Tell them that the person talking at the podium could be them someday. Particularly Ari, I never got a 4.0. Because I have found, and they will too thanks to this building, that I am not alone. Because every person here today and every person learning in this school is just like me. An imperfect person with flaws and things that make them different, who wonder if those differences will make it possible for them to make a difference, but who never stop trying to make one anyway. And as a result of this mindset, they not only will lead healthcare, but lead it in the right direction. Because though they receive superior education, though they receive superior clinical experiences, they will never forget that they are not superior. They will never forget that they are human. And as a result, when they look at the patient they are caring for, they will not just see a patient, they will see a person, just like them. And as a result, every patient they care for will feel less alone, and so will they. How beautiful is it that a concept of mutual healing, purpose, and fulfillment can even be contemplated? How sad is it that the majority of those working in healthcare are not thinking this way, and therefore don't get to fully experience this wonder that comes from the contemplation and action brought forth by it? How important, then, that this building exists so that more of healthcare and our world is truly healed. Why are we so lucky to be called to be part of it? The answer to that question is Providence. Thank you very much for having me.